new character Hammond, codename Wrecking Ball, is a new hero in Overwatch. He fills a tank role and plays kind of like an off-tank slash bruiser. He's literally a hamster. And most importantly, the mech literally turns into a ball. He can turn into a ball and roll around. Hammond's abilities consist of quad cannons, roll, grappling claw, adaptive shield, Piledriver, and his ultimate Minefield. Quad cannons are his basic hit scan automatic assault weapons. They're actually pretty good. They're hit scan with very good range, they're hit scan with very good spread, actually probably in my opinion, better spread than Soldier 76. But the damage per bullet and overall the amount of DPS you can get out without reloading isn't as good as the DPS characters, obviously. The spread is actually good enough for you to be able to pressure Pharaohs consistently and be able to be scared of anyone else in a medium range to a short range. Hammond's shift is a roll ability. It allows him to swap in between, being a ball, not being a ball, choosing if you want to shoot or roll around. But it's on a 1 second cooldown, which is very short, so it easily allows you to just swap into a ball, roll around, change your position, and then instantly go back into shooting. This is a key you'll probably be pressing the most when you're playing Hammond. You want to swap between poking, mid-range, short range, and swapping into a ball to either reposition, engage, or disengage. You can just roll into the enemy team, start shooting the backline, and roll out easily using your other abilities and survive. His next ability is Grappling Claw. Now this is the really fun ability. You launch a Grappling Claw to be able to rapidly swing around the connected area. You can't connect to opponents or players, you can only connect to walls and roofs. Sometimes stairs, because they're also considered walls by the game. You can't change the actual length of your Grappling Claw. Once you attach it, there is a maximum amount of distance away from the connected area you can actually move. But this allows you to just connect, to the middle of a payload on a bell or a pole and just literally just swing around in circles endlessly. And the only thing that can disconnect you from that is an enemy stunning you, CCing you in any way, or you canceling the grappling hook. This allows you to play on points and connect to a payload and literally swing endlessly to contest the point or knock people contesting the point away, or literally just be a disrupting, annoying nuisance to the enemy team. You can also use this in a way where you attach it to the roof or anything above you and to increase your maximum movement speed in a vertical way. That allows you to make big jumps, that allows you to engage from above, it allows you to just climb maps vertical, climb Gibraltar's verticality very easily with smart placement of grappling claws. But how you use it is entirely upon you. His next ability is Adaptive Shield, and this is actually a very strong ability. He gains a temporary shield just for himself, not like the Symmetra shield, but like the Lucio beat, but it won't decay over time. The shield amount that you get whenever you press the ability is dependent on how many enemies are nearby. There's a small counter in the bottom left that measures how many people are nearby you, so you want to make sure you use it when there are as many people nearby you as possible. This allows you to engage very aggressively, disrupting very easily, and then getting out without even losing your health. Or especially getting out while almost doubling your health pool efficiently. You can go in, take damage, use Adaptive Shield, get healed up with the initial damage you took in your actual health pool when the enemies are shooting the shield, and then your shield will be depleted and your health will be full again, allowing you to disrupt and live for a very long time. And with your increased maximum movement speed and your grappling claw mobility, you're very difficult to kill. Because whenever you turn into a ball, you don't have a headshot hitbox. That means there's no way for them to headshot you without ending your ball form by CCing you and stunning you, but as long as you're in ball form, you will not ever get headshot. And you have access to all these other abilities to allow you mobility and disrupting the enemy team from killing you and just disengaging and engaging in general, which makes it very easy for you to survive. However, using Adaptive Shield cancels your ball form, so you have to be careful when you use that, but using it and the very low cooldown on roll kind of allows you to just instantly use Adaptive Shield, go into ball form, and just do whatever you want. The next ability is Piledriver. Piledriver is, in my opinion, I could definitely be wrong, I haven't played this character that much yet, but I've grinded him definitely on the day of the release. Piledriver slams into the ground, deals damage below you, and launches the enemies up in the air. This is the biggest part of the ability. The forced movement CC by launching the enemies up into the air gives you such an advantage in a lot of situations. You can use it to CC the main tank, or Shadow underneath the Reinhardt ult. You can use it to CC their backline, CC their DPS, or literally just if there's a high noon and they're all hiding behind a shield. Then you can Piledriver behind the Rein shield and knock everyone else but the Rein up, allowing the high noon to kill them. There are so many interesting combos and interesting usages of this ability that I haven't done yet that I want to do. There's so many theory crafted combos and things you can do with this. The Earthshatter ultimate is something I actually managed to do. It was hard, but I managed to do it, and it was really cool. Holy It was so cool, it was so much fun, and most importantly, it was only one of the many combos you can do with this ability. You can knock people up. You can grab them above the Rhine to make sure the Rhine won't be in the grab or be able to reach the grab so they can't shield it if you don't have any big ultimates to combo with. There's so many cool usages of this ability, and I'm so excited to play more of this character. On the PTR currently, the damage you deal from Piledriver doesn't give you ultimate charge. I believe this is a glitch. It will probably be fixed. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not, but yeah, you know. PTR, it's a public test realm where things aren't necessarily completely completed. His ultimate is Minefield. It's basically Drunkard's passive, as I already said. You throw out a bunch of mines around you. The mines take a little bit to activate, and when they're activated, they will stay there for around 11 seconds. You can shoot them to destroy them, but they all have 50 health, so they're pretty hard to kill, and it takes a long time to clear out a minefield. So what you use it for is typically zoning. You can use it to combo with ultimates. You can use it in tight corridors to deny complete space, or use it mid-fight to just make sure people take the extra damage to actually get finished off and die. You can use it in a lot of different ways. Like if you jump up into a wall and you use the minefield next to a wall, the mines will actually attach to the wall and stay there. You can also use it in tiny corridors, and then they won't be spread out as much, so it will just be a high density of mines in a small corridor. You can use them to, you know, put them on top of your supports, so the flankers and divers can't reach your supports. You can use them for overtime or just contesting points where, oh, you know, I don't want you on the point. I'm going to put a bunch of mines everywhere on this point, and you will have to take a bunch of damage to clear them, or take a long time to clear them out by shooting them. You can't charge them, and the damage you charge doesn't deal enough damage to the mines to actually destroy them, so Ryan can't like charge in, destroy all the mines, and then just swing. If he charges in, he will actually take the damage and get knocked around by the minefields. They deal pretty good damage. I don't know the exact numbers, and I'm sure those numbers are prone to change for balance purposes. It's only the PTR, so anything that we're talking about right now could actually change. But it's a fun ability. I think it charges a little bit slow because its usage, it's more zoning and has a very simple counterplay. But that could also be because I'm not good enough at building my ult yet. And it could also be that some damage numbers aren't refined yet. You also don't get ult charge from Piledriver, so that would also definitely boost the amount of like ult charge you get from overall damage. In general, his kit is really fun. As I said, he feels refined. There are some glitches and some small buggy abilities and stuff, but there's nothing big really. I had a really fun time playing him, and I only flew off the map 3 times because I accidentally detached my claw because I was bad. That will never happen again because I am now the best Hammond in NA, and that's just the truth, you know. Grappling Claw also is a little bit glitchy to use, but you can learn to use it very consistently. Sometimes it'll detach, sometimes it'll lag out a little bit. Some payloads have a really hard time actually like attaching the claw to it. Some, like the Hollywood payload, is almost impossible to attach to except for very specific key points. But in general, the character feels really refined and really fun to play. It's definitely something like new to the game that I think the game kind of needs. It's fun to play. It's a little bit frustrating to play against, but it's not hard to counter him because any hard CC completely counters him, and that makes it so he's not like over the top in terms of disruption, and he's not overpowered. He doesn't have any crazy values and damage numbers or anything. If anything, I think he might be a little bit underpowered right now, or maybe I'm just not good enough for the character yet, and people are definitely going to get better the more they play him. His playstyle will always be a very aggressive, peeling, disrupting, engaging type of playstyle. Hammond works really well with that hit and run sort of mentality where you can engage, you can knock people back, you can use your Piledriver CC, deal damage, and get out very safely with your adaptive shield. Even without your adaptive shield, your increased movement speed and the mobility the Grappling Claw provides for you really makes you so hard to kill. Because you're so fast, you're hard to shoot, you can move both vertically and horizontally with your Grappling Claw, and on top of all this, you're literally a ball with no headshot hitbox, and you get a shield. It's so hard to kill you, but you're also like not a character that would one-shot or just kill people instantly. You are a team-based character where you would create space for your team. You would deny the enemy team space. You can probably get picks if you go aggressive, and if they don't peel for their backline, you don't have a Zen is in the back. You knock him off, you go and shoot him with your quad cannons, you just roll out, drop some mines, run away, and he'll probably be dead. The better you get at it, the more things you're going to be able to kill. But typically, I think the way I would approach him in higher level play is to enable your teammates. It's to knock the enemy Reinhardt back, you know, so you can shoot the backline because they're just in front of the shield now. It's to engage very aggressively, knock them up, to make sure your team gets a very advantageous engage on the enemy team. To make sure your Ryan can definitely pin into the enemy Ryan. There's so many different things you can do with this character, and I think the entire mindset of a Hammond player will always be around enabling your team or disabling the enemy team. I think he's also a really good pick for overtime situations where you want to contest the cart, you want to make sure that you never go off the cart, you want to knock people off the cart, you want to finish off a fight. All these different situations where you can contest a set space is really good, because that's how your grappling claw works, is where you attach it to a wall and you'll just spin around a set space. You'll just knock people away. You attach your claw to a payload, you'll just spin around the payload, and anyone getting close to the payload will be knocked off. It's such a good, consistent way of just contesting, and you're also hard to kill with all this CC. It makes it really easy for your teammates to clean up the fight. What are they gonna do? Contest the cart? When you learn the character, I would recommend going into, training bots or a custom game and just really getting familiar with the grappling claw. The grappling claw is a little bit tricky. Utilizing that is definitely the key to being a good Hammond. Movement will definitely be where the skill cap is for this character. You correctly utilizing your CC, correctly engaging with your grappling claw and knockbacks are going to be the keys. And if you learn and you practice the movement, you're definitely going to have an edge over other Hammond players, and in general just do things that people aren't prepared for by just practicing his movement enough until he's very comfortable rolling around and flying around with your grappling claw. For maps, I think it's hard to say what Hammond's best map is. I would like to say, the cough that allows like Nepal, where you can knock people off, he's really strong at. But I've had the success I've had with him over the different maps hasn't always been map specific, but mostly so my own performance, because I'm not that great at him yet. I'm not the most consistent Hammond player. Any maps that allows you to play choke points and CC engages, like on Nomura Point 8, you have a clear door where you don't want people to walk through, and it's really easy to knock them back and knock them out of the door, or knock them into your team even from the other side. It's also a good verticality you can contest with your grappling claw. We're flying up and down, just connecting and going in, engaging with your control. If a team engages on Hanamura A, you can very easily engage on their backline from above the whole arch with the grappling claw use, and then into a Piledriver and shooting them. You can usually kill one. You can play it as a flanker bruiser, sort of pushing together with your flankers. You can push together with a Tracer, you can push together with a Genji, or you can play with your Reinhardt or a Winston and just attack the enemy front line. But typically the way you would do this is map dependent, so Hollywood is very high ground dependent on second point. And thus you want to play together with your team, and you want to deny high ground as much as possible. Because if you deny high ground and you play with your team, you can definitely easily get on the front line and the enemy line and just contest him into a position where he will die. You can also contest the back line to prevent healing and prevent healing for the front line. I don't know what Hammond's worst map is, but any open maps are bad for him because he's easy to see, he's easy to spot, and Widowmakers poke him down very consistently because he does go fast, but from longer ranges he is just a ball rolling around, so it's very easy to hit, and thus he's very easy to poke down the health of. So really good Widow maps where Widows can sit in the backline and just farm, and you have a hard time contesting them because of open areas. He was very hard to play on Dorado second once he got into the second half of that point, because there's so much high ground, it's so open, it's just like everyone's everywhere, and contesting the tanks are typically under the bridge, and they have a very strong front line and a very set amount of space that they want the enemy to be in, because it allows the enemy the Widowmakers and the snipers and the general DPS to just farm safely. But I would definitely say that my, maybe not best map, I don't know best map yet, but my favorite map to play Hammond on is definitely Nepal or Ilios, just because you could knock people off on certain points of those Koth maps. It's so much fun when you're just you're stalling the point, literally a ball swinging and rolling around the entire point, and you're just knocking people off one by one. You're just hiding and like, oh, I'm gonna knock someone off now, and then you're just gone. And then your team comes back, you knock everyone up, or at least select someone off the map. Easy. It's a lot of fun. It's a very fun character to play. Very hard, high skill cap, but it's a fun character. He's a hamster. He's stupid, but he's fun. I know a lot of people don't like him, but I enjoyed playing against him, and I enjoyed playing with him. So I don't have many bad things to say about this character. To summarize the character, his name is Hammond. He's a hamster. He's in a wrecking ball. He's a tank. You'll play him as an off-tank bruiser. His skill cap relies on movement and engages and disengages, knowing at what point you can go in very aggressively and live, and knowing the line where you would live and die. You always want to do as much as you possibly can and escape as low as you possibly can, and have as much time to disrupt the enemy team as possible without dying.